You don't have to ingest something to become addicted to it. I mean, for instance, um, what we're talking about are called behavioral or process addictions. So in that category, we'll have things like gambling. Now, when you gamble, you're not ingesting anything. You're not swallowing the dice. But we certainly know gambling addiction works, and gambling addiction exists because we treat it and we've seen it. Um, Sex would be in that same category, and internet and technology would be in that same category. All addictions operate by elevating that dopaminergic system, that reward circuitry that elevates that neurochemical dopamine, as I mentioned. So in a sense, all addictions are the same. Now, I'm not saying that heroin addiction and technology addiction are in the same class. I think they operate with similar mechanisms of action with regard to the addictive process. But certainly heroin is occupying the mu receptors in the brain, and those are opiate receptors, and that provides some degree of intoxication. But the secondary gain that makes that addiction possible is that same reward circuitry in that limbic system, that dopamine reward circuitry. So yes, ingesting substances do alter mood and consciousness, but all of that addictive process and reward process has to do with that reward circuitry in the brain. Now, there is the tolerance that you experience from certain substances is very different because your body gets used to having that substance, and then you need to maintain that substance, otherwise you get sick, or you experience some withdrawal when you don't take it. We see some of that with technology use, obviously not to the same extent, and you're not going to die or get really, really physically ill if you stop technology use. Although people do get very angry, they get irritable. There have been many cases where kids have gotten violent towards their parents. In some extreme cases, they've killed their parents because they've removed that technology from them. But by no means is that the standard. So I want to make it clear that drug and alcohol addiction is still, although there's similarities in terms of their relationship neurobiologically, there are differences. And I don't know that technology addiction is as much life or death as certainly heroin or other drugs are. And I don't want to make that mistake. However, I see tremendous disruption in people's lives from technology addiction, mostly in the form of broken relationships, work dysfunction, huge problems with academic behavior and academic performance, and then in many cases legal problems because people are doing things online that are illegal and that get them into trouble, particularly in the areas of sex.